Hello YouTube, it's William here with Gopernopper's Trains, and today I'm doing a review of my recently purchased Mantua 060. Now I picked mine up used, and I don't know if you can see it, but the price sticker right here is not normally a road name I do anything with, but the deal was just too good to pass up. This thing was $15 plus $3 shipping. So anyways, let's get right to it. I'm going to open up the box and we'll go down to track level. So now that we've got it out of the box and onto the track, I'd like to talk a bit more about the locomotive and how it works. So this is actually a newer issue, which I believe is from about 95 or so onward, because this is after Tyco lost the Mantua name, or excuse me, Tyco was purchased by Hasbro, I think, and lost the Mantua name. So Mantua went back to making their own standalone units before eventually being being bought by Model Power and used in the Mantua Classic series. This particular tooling was also used in the Mantua Classic series with a very similar drive and makeup, so that was really unchanged. This unit is driven by one motor. I don't believe there's a flywheel, but there is a whirring gear, and you can see it on the bottom if we lift it up. It has directional headlights and is not currently DCC equipped. However, a DCC install shouldn't be too difficult. I don't have the papers that come with it, so I couldn't tell you whether or not it had an exploded diagram in the box or not. But I think, given the construction, it shouldn't be too much of a challenge for an experienced model railroader. Fitting a sound decoder in there is going to be a bit more challenging, especially because there is little to no room in the cab. Now, of course, mine is used, but it doesn't detract from the condition at all or the running quality. This thing still runs great, and it looks great. I don't think I'm missing any details on here, so with that, let's commence the review. Alright, so here we are. We're at the front of the locomotive. I apologize if the camera is slightly off. I had to prop it up specially. And let's go ahead and start taking a look. So starting from the bottom, we've got a functioning horn hook coupler on here. However, this one is very stiff. It doesn't hold its position quite properly, as you can see. Another thing that really comes to, into immediate focus when you look at the Pilot is these bright yellow steps on the front, and I think those look really good too. They just add a little splash of color, and I'm not sure whether or not that's prototypical, but I think it looks nice anyways. We've got this nice number plate right on the front here, and a headlight which operates. You can't see it on the side, but little number plates on the sides of the headlight, which you'll see when we get to the front. We've got a small grab iron here that looks to be brass. I don't know, but I really like it. Got some very nice rivet detailing around the smoke box door, and we've also got a cast-in grab iron on the front. You can't really see it from this angle, but there's no safety tread stamped onto the top of the Pilot, but there is safety tread stamped into the tops of the cylinders. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the side. Alright, so now we are having a look at the side of the locomotive. Now if we go back to the headlight, we can see those number plates on the side. Unfortunately, they're not lighted. However, they're very crisp and easy to see. If we work back from the front, we've got more rivet detailing around the front of the smoke box. We've also got some other cast-in detail on the side. Some cast-in stuff right there. I'm not sure what that actually is. Could be a grab iron. On top, you can kind of see the wires coming out of the headlight, but it's not that big a deal because I think that is actually prototypical. We've got some other, I believe that's the dynamo. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Could be the whistle. Let me have a look quick, actually. I think that's the dynamo. Anyways, up here's the smokestack. This is not a smoking engine as far as I know. And then we've got the steam and sand domes in the back. No pop-off valves. And there is a swinging brass bell, which also looks very nice. Now if we work down towards the sides, we've got the separately applied grab irons, some other steps on the side of the saddle tank here, the Reading Locomotive Shops logo, which looks very clear and crisp on the side, some cast-in piping detail on the sides of the boiler, some rivets towards the front. We've got no safety treads stamped on the walkways, unfortunately. You can also see the cylinder heads and the running gear all down here, which also looks great when the unit is in motion. Coming back to the cab, we've got the 1251 on the side and a little tiny number underneath that says B4A, which indicates the class of locomotive. Now we're going to go ahead and turn it around to the other side to take a look at the detail there. Alright, so here we are at the front, and there's only one really big difference between the two sides, and it's this large, separately applied plastic detail here. I don't know exactly what that is, so if you do know, please let me know down in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. But other than that, both sides are the same, and they both look great. So here we are. So here we are at the back of the unit now. We can see our operating backup light, which is directional. Oh, I forgot to mention that there are doors cast into the sides of the cab, and you can take a look at that by rewinding the video. But we've got a bit more cast-in detail, which includes steps. No coal load, unfortunately, although you could add some. Again, we've got those really nice bright yellow steps, a factory-installed horn hook coupler, and some nicer rivet detailing around the back. Now I'll quick lift up the camera to show you the top of the cab, where there is a good bit of rivet detailing as well, and a small hatch. Unfortunately, it does not open. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the underside of the engine. Now from this perspective, you can see that the center drivers are flangeless. So these are blind drivers. I'm not exactly sure why they do that. It fits on 18-inch radius curves with no problem. I am not sure whether or not it'll run on 15, but I think it will, given that flangeless blind driver in the center. Now one thing you will notice is that this rear driver here does have a traction tire on it, which is kind of unfortunate, given that this thing is actually surprisingly hefty for its size. I was really hoping that it wouldn't have to have a traction tire. However, I really don't have any complaints with power pickup, as this thing even makes it through my diamond over here with absolutely no problems. But other than that, that's all there is to talk about on the underside. Alright, so here we are zoomed out, and now I'm ready to show you how this thing operates. Now this is a, like I said, rather smooth running engine, especially with that can motor. Slow speed control is unfortunately just a bit lacking, because the gears on this thing aren't perfect, but they're a lot better than some. So anyways, let's go ahead and fire it up. So there you go, so a very nice and smooth start. This thing has an incredibly low current draw, and it starts moving almost immediately. So to get some really good slow speed out of it, I have to have a feather touch on the controller. And it's not perfect, however, it is definitely a usable switching speed. And I can see right now that the directional backup lighting is working perfectly. A little bit noisy given the gears, but other than that, not bad at all. Naturally, this thing is going to be a bit louder because I was not able to dampen the sound of this inner track as well as I was the outer. And this thing does have a pretty high top speed, and I'll show that to you. This is much higher than scale. Making its way around the track right now. Headlight burning bright. Just clipped the Sara Lee boxcar there. But yeah, this thing's gears will definitely benefit from a braking period. But slow speed control is not bad at all. That's probably the best slow speed you're going to get out of it. You can get a bit slower, but it might run a little bit choppy and not perfectly consistent. But other than that, really no complaints with the running qualities of this engine, as it is awesome for the price. Okay, so we are all zoomed out and ready to go with the Reading Locomotive Works 060 from Mantua. This is a really nice engine, has a surprising amount of pulling power, and runs very, very smooth for the money. I'm very, very happy with this thing. If you can find one for the price that I did, I'd say you've got an amazing deal on your hands. I was about to say fantastic, but excuse that. But anyways, I'd say anything under 30 bucks is a fair price for one of these. Approaching 20 is really awesome, and the price that I got it at, 15, is just incredible. Too good to pass up. But anyways, let's go ahead and move it out.